Hi, I'm Diane Lucas, and welcome to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years, and today I have my special guest. He's the author of the book Canyon of Hope, no other than Mr. Eric Donoho.
Hey Daniel, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here on your show and talk to your audience about my new book, Canyon of Hope.
Welcome to Book 101, Mr. Eric, and can you please introduce more about yourself?
Yeah, so my name's Eric Donoho. I'm a retired sergeant from the U.S. Army. I was medically retired for getting blown up too many times. And just like most veterans out there, I had my difficulties in transitioning from my service to the country into back into civilian life, and that's kind of what Canyon of Hope is all about. Is more about that transition than it is about war.
Mr. Eric Donoho, we salute you for bringing Canyon of Hope to the world. And what inspired you to write this book?
Too many veterans that I know have ended up taking their own life. I ended up almost becoming a statistic myself. And so, for those reasons, and wanting my kids to have a better understanding of the right way to build your foundation in life, I wanted to put all of those things together into a package for both veterans and for my kids. And so that's really what the major inspiration was about. The secondary was to create a book that would start to talk about moral injury. And moral injury is the biggest driver behind veterans taking their own lives. So I wanted to get it out into the world and show real world examples about how moral injury is real and how you can heal from moral injury through service and faith.
Can you describe the moment or experience that moved you to begin telling this story?
Um, Thyroid cancer. A few years back, I got thyroid cancer, and I realized that we can think about things and have them on our hearts, our dreams, our aspirations, things that we want to try to achieve in life. And we can say, oh, we'll do it next year, or we'll do it the year after. And then when you get faced with something like thyroid cancer at, I think I was 45 years old at the time, you really, it restructures how you look at life. And what if I didn't get those extra days? And what if I didn't get the chance? And so that was kind of the motivation behind, all right, once I get through this, it's about making sure that all of these things that God put on my heart, I start knocking them out one by one so that the world gets to hear this story, and my kids get to see that no matter how often life swings at you, you still get up and continue to move forward.
Very well said, Mr. Eric. Beautifully articulated. What do you hope? What do you hope readers take away from the metaphor of a canyon on the path of healing?
So the the name Canyon of Hope really came from the picture on the front of the book, and the picture on the front of the book is one that I took in the Gila National Wilderness when I was on an expedition with No Barriers Warriors back in 2016. And while I was on that trip, I couldn't help but feel how the environment was mimicking how I was feeling on the inside. And so when we were walking along this canyon or along the West Fork Gila River, I was always in the shadows, but for the first time in a really long time, at the end of that canyon was light. And I was starting to feel that in my own life on this trip that I had taken with them. And so I wanted to capture a photo that I could hang up in my home that would always remind me, no matter how dark things got, um, there's always light at the end of the tunnel. There's the days always shine darkest after a big storm, that kind of thing, so that there was something to remind me to keep going even in the dark times. And that photo went on to win numerous awards, and I called it Canyon of Hope because that trip and that specific scene is what caused me to get so much hope in my own life.
Congratulations for winning for that best photo indeed. So let's talk about the themes of darkness and light. How did you personally navigate the transition from darkness to light?
Faith. When I found myself at my lowest in December of 2015, sitting at my kitchen table, trying to end my life, um, I didn't have faith. I was incredibly angry with God for a whole number of things. I had lost my first son, David. I had lost 17 friends in combat. At that point, I had lost 12 friends to veteran suicide epidemic. I had already lost one friend. No, sorry, two friends were already sick from burn pits. Things in my life were just surrounded by darkness, and I just never really saw the light. And the reason is because I didn't have my faith to lean on. And so when that day sitting at my table failed, I decided that I needed to either get on living or find another way. And so I decided, because of my kids, that I would give it another chance. But this time, I needed to put all my effort into living this new life. And that journey started in 2016, and it's been an evolution ever since. Constantly growing, constantly challenging myself to get outside of the box. But it's been faith and my relationship with Jesus and God that have brought me to the point that I am today.
Are there specific practices or beliefs that help you embrace the light within?
That's a great question. I think being intentional about our day and living, and not thinking about the short term gains, but more so the long term gains. And so let me explain kind of how that looks for me. Every day I start out my day with at least 15 minutes of me sitting and intentionally thinking about how I want my day to look. I spend another 5 to 10 minutes talking with God, just me and him. And then I start my day. And throughout the day, I don't then leave that there, because days rarely go how we hope they go. And so I again spend my time throughout my day checking in and talking with him about the challenges and the changes that have been thrown at me during that day. Um, Faith is really what I lean on every single day. Writing this book was a huge leap of faith. It hasn't been something that's been challenging or easy. I've invested pretty much everything I and my company have into it. And it's a scary time to be doing that kind of investment, to be making that kind of leap of faith. And yet, every day I find a new challenge, a new growth, and all of that is coming out of stretching myself and then being an active participant in my relationship with God and Jesus.
Mr. Eric, let's talk about the journey and the process. What was the most emotional challenging part of writing Canyon of Hope?
Everything. um, when you write a memoir, like when I sat down and I to write this book, I knew that if I tried to gloss over it, if I, you know, didn't open those jars that I stuffed all of this stuff down inside and let the reader actually experience the feelings and the thoughts that I was actually thinking at that time, um, it wouldn't have the same impact that it would. And so opening those jars meant that I would actually have to, you know, write it and be able to say goodbye and leave it behind. So it was difficult, but also, very cathartic about being able to download all the stuff you don't need anymore, and all the stuff that is important for that growth, and those lessons are in the book. So it's time for a fresh start. Think about your computer that spins and spins because you've got it overloaded and too much stuff stored on it. And so all of a sudden you're like, you know what? I've got it all backed up. I'm just going to reset and restore to factory settings. And then you do all of that and you turn on your computer and it's like, oh my gosh, this thing just runs like brand new again. That's kind of how the end result was of the process.
Were there parts of your story you hesitated to share?
Yeah, I didn't share the whole story. There are things that I don't believe. So there's a terminology called secondary trauma where you can cause, trauma to other people based on the way you describe and tell your story to someone else. And I wanted to be very cognitive of that thinking in my story and in my storytelling, while at the same time being unfiltered and authentic to what I thought. So there are stories that I left out. There are stories that I didn't go into as great detail or as vivid detail as what maybe I experienced them in my dream. But I do feel the reader still pulls away that same emotion without having to write something that may cause somebody's secondary trauma.
Did you learn anything new about yourself while revisiting these moments?
Um, I learned a renewed confidence in who I am and what I'm capable of achieving when I focus on the task. Never in my life did I think that I would write a book, let alone a book that's been getting so many different praises and positive reviews right off the bat, and do all of that with having dyslexia. So for me, it wasn't necessarily learning something new. It was just reconfirming all of those things that I had learned in the military. And so it was another sense of confidence to myself.
Let's talk about the connection with the reader. How have readers responded to your story so far?
Um, I brace myself all the time for negative comments and thoughts, because I know that there are going to be people out there that just my book doesn't resonate with them, and that's expected and is going to happen. But as it stands right now, I have 30 5-star reviews on Amazon, a number on Goodreads. I don't remember what the actual number is on Goodreads. But and they've all said really amazing and positive things to me, but it's been the veterans that I serve with who have wrote me personal emails that I think their responses have meant the most to me. And some of them have said things like, you gave me the words to describe what I've been feeling for a very long time. And hearing that from people that you admire and respect, it's humbling, and at the same time it allows you to know that even when those bad reviews come, um, you've still made a positive impact in people's lives. And so it's been very, very humbling, and I'm still trying to get used to the emails coming in, and the amazing comments and stories that individuals share with me because I opened up and shared my story with them.
Do you believe everyone has a light within waiting to be discovered, and even in the darkest moments?
Absolutely. None of us are beyond redeemable, and all of us, are born with a soul, and that soul within us is that light that acts as a lighthouse for us and for others. And sometimes those windows on that lighthouse, they just get so dirty and clogged up with all the muck of the world that it takes somebody else coming in and helping them clean off those windows to get that light to shine back out into the world. So yes, absolutely, I do believe that everyone has that light, and I do believe everyone has a responsibility to shine that light into this world as well.
Yes, people behind the clouds, the sun's still shining. So, as an author, Mr. Eric, what will be your short term and long term goals?
As an author right now, continuing to promote and get this message out there. That is, some short-term goals, along with creating moral injury workshops that will be going around the country talking about moral injury and how that affects, I mean, really everyone, not just veterans, but how that affects veterans and what we can do as a community to bring awareness to that and to help veterans who may be suffering from moral injury. Long-term goals, I'd love to see this book turned into a movie, but most importantly, I hope to be able to continue to use this book in a way that facilitates a hand up to those who need it most.
Yes, indeed. And good luck to your goals, Mr. Eric. And what would be your advice for those people out there losing hope?
Never lose hope. I know that when the darkness comes and you are fixated on all the things that are going wrong, because they do often in life go wrong. And when one thing goes wrong, it can be a cascading effect that then ends up, affecting everything downstream. So, number one, I would say to you, step out of your day and do something nice for someone else. I know that sounds crazy. How is that going to help me? How is that going to help me? My world is falling apart, and you want me to stop worrying about that and do something nice for someone else? And the answer is yes. Yes, I do. And I want you to do something nice for someone else, like go serve at a food kitchen, go do something that is real, find the time, make the time, and go do it. And in the process of you doing that, the problems that you have in your life will seem more manageable and less overwhelming. And then you'll be able to handle them with more grace and understanding than you would if you're not having those insights.
Yes, people, God is good. There always hope. Let's talk about the spiritual and emotional growth, Mr. Eric, of the book itself. What role did spirituality or faith play in your journey toward healing?
Everything. Faith has been wrapped up in my journey for as long as I can remember. And no matter how hard I tried to run away from God, whether it was in my youth when I was going to Catholic school or as I got older and I just stopped going to church altogether, faith in God has been an important part of that journey. And it hasn't been until recently, within the last 3 years, that I can actually trace back God's presence in so many crucial moments of my life where I actually thought He abandoned me. And when you can sit back and look at your life objectively and try to understand how you got through those worst moments, there's always something there that will point to God being there to protect you, being there to hold you up, being there to help carry that cross that you've been asked to bear. So for me, faith has been everything to me, and figuring out how to create that relationship with God and how that looked for me personally. Well, that's in the book and is an important part of the journey of anybody trying to find healing. It doesn't necessarily need to be faith in my God, but you need to have faith in something.
Have faith in God, people, because God is good. So before we wrap up our discussion, Mr. Eric, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in 5th season, abstract poetry in 2nd season, book 101 review in 5th season, comedy 101 in 2nd season, and food 101 in its 5th season as well. Geography 101 and Love Letters in 3rd season, and my baby podcast, Mental Health 101, Movie 101 Review and Music 101 in its 4th season, and Science 101 and Sex 101 in its 1st season. So please do listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. Mr. Eric, if a reader remembers only one message from your book, what do you hope it is?
Two are better than one, because if one falls, the other is there to give a hand up.
Interesting indeed, Mr. Eric, and thank you so much for sharing your story to the world. It really empowers us. So can you please invite our listeners to support Canyon of Hope?
Absolutely. I would really appreciate all of your support in buying Canyon of Hope. Thank you so much for considering this book. And you can find it at Amazon, Kindle, anywhere you buy your books. Daniel, thank you for having me on your podcast. I can't tell you how much I appreciate the time and all the energy, man. I love it.
You are most welcome, Mr. Eric, and this podcast is created for you. Yes, people, let's support Mr. Eric Donoho, because if you support him, more and more and more empowering books like this to come. So, Mr. Eric, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
More to come, people. See you soon.